Hi, everybody. Welcome to Jafet's Coffee Break. I am Jafet, your host, and as always, I am with my good friend and co-host Victor. How are you, Victor?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all good. So today the topic is nostalgia. We were talking about it, and we said like this is gold. We have to use it. But before we start talking about nostalgia, I want to talk about the coffee of the day. It's a caramel coffee, or regular coffee with a tad of caramel, so really good.
Okay.
And coffee enhancer, like always, machiato caramel. So just to give it a little uh, sugary taste or flavor, right? Pizzazz, exactly. So yeah, so that's it. Pretty
Standard.
standard, yeah. And welcome to this first episode that we are recording. So this is us. This is our face. Welcome to our podcast, and it's been a pleasure doing this like for about a year now. And for the first time, we're recording. Well, actually, like I mentioned before, we tried before, but
tried
this is the good one.
This is the real one.
Hopefully, yeah. So
And if not, this is just an audio podcast once again.
yeah, if if you don't see our faces, well, it's just audio. But you know what? We're enjoying doing this. Thank you for listening to us and being there. Follow us on Twitter. Sorry, not Twitter. Twitter, I'm not using it that much yet, but mostly on Instagram and Facebook, where we post every news or new episode that
Maybe
we're
we'll
releasing.
get a TikTok at some point.
Maybe a
make
TikTok.
dances.
Nah, that's not gonna happen.
Okay.
Sorry, no. So thank you for being there once again, and so we will be talking about nostalgia and what we mean. We can go so many ways with this topic, but one of the things we were talking is how like big brands are using nostalgia to sell us things that we already bought at least in the past, right? We can easily think about like Nike or like the retro Jordans or things like
Yeah.
that. The year like oh yeah, these were released in that time and now they have like limited
Toys, video
issues
games,
and
video
yeah,
games with
video games.
with reboots,
Yeah,
with
or series.
series, everything.
So you see everybody or almost everybody just trying to get to this target audience, if we can say it like this, right? Using different types of nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we fall for that, right? And well, just your shirt, Star Wars. I mean, like like. You weren't even born when the first one was released, right?
Nope.
So
But you know what? I still get a nostalgic feeling for it every time I see it.
yeah, because it started to be a tradition, right? If
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, like watching it like with the family and you just like grew up after that watching the other ones, right? So and they sell you their merch like everywhere and it's crazy.
Yeah.
And we fall for it and it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just saying that it's out there and
Nostalgia sells.
yeah.
Sells really well.
And
Everything.
and I'm a bit surprised because sometimes you're like, really? Like, you guys used to watch this show too, Like sometimes it's like, oh wow, and for some, well, I don't know, I don't have one in mind right now, but sometimes we have like shows that we're like, it was a crappy show or not that good, And we're
Crappy?
like, well, maybe not crappy, but
I have
like,
an example. There's Power Rangers.
yeah, and
It-
you're like. Okay, but then you have like T-shirts coming out. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that
Yeah,
show, and it
yeah.
wasn't that good, but you just remember like the song or whatever, just saying like, oh yeah, I used to watch this,
You always
even
do
though
that.
it wasn't that good, because what we have to understand, well, you guys have to understand, is that at that time, well, I'm not talking like too long ago actually when we're talking about like live TV, right? When people were just watching whatever was on TV on that channel and you didn't have that many channels, so sometimes you just leave it there and you're watching whatever they're passing, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have that many things on demand, or like if you wanted to watch a movie, you needed a VHS, or which is like a cassette, right? That
Yeah,
you have
I know what
I know, I'm just
VHS
saying
is.
for the
I
audience that
was-
don't know what it is, like VHS is before DVDs and
Yeah, yeah.
before Blu-rays. And
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's been a while, right? But when you wanted to watch or rewatch something, you had to record it and then watch it again, or it's not
Yeah.
like now that you have almost everything on demand or on those like platforms like Netflix, Hulu, whatever.
Hmm.
right? Big brands that they sell you nostalgia, and that's what they're doing actually. They have new shows, of course, but they also sell you. They get to you like using that nostalgia.
Yeah,
Let's say like,
that's the whole basis of Disney.
yeah, it's
Disney
crazy.
makes new like shows, films,
Yeah.
whatever, but they always bring out the classics. Disney Plus is just a nostalgia based thing.
Yeah, and did you know it's the first app, like, and the number one app on sales? Like when you see like top sales
Yeah.
of all time, like
Hmm.
for now, it's Disney,
Outside the
and
kitchen.
it's crazy.
That's the whole pop toys.
Yeah,
That's the whole demographic. That's
of
their
course.
whole thing.
Yeah,
Just literally, they make toys of things that you used to have that you can't find anywhere else, and they sell like hotcakes.
yeah, and it
Maybe a little
because
bit less now, but they still sell like crazy.
they do, because the thing is that there's always a fandom, right?
Yeah.
For anything,
Hmm.
you create it, and there will be a response. And even if it's not that popular, like, because sometimes what they do is like, okay, we're gonna release, I don't know, like 500, or I don't know if that's how they do it, but sometimes companies just release a certain amount of first editions, right?
Yeah.
And people buy them because they know they're low edition numbers, right? And that's why they're like getting more value. It's not necessarily because people really like it. It's mostly because uh, they are limited editions, right?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you're like, wait, what? It's taking this character or this thing for a Funko Pop or a collectible. Like, it's so rare because like it's not that popular, so it gets a lot of value, right? So that's how it goes. And it's crazy because anyhow, even if it's not like that popular, eventually it's gonna have a good demand for it, right?
Hmm.
Like, it's crazy when you think about it, how they use nostalgia to sell us things that we already bought, or we already consumed, right,
Yeah.
as the consumers.
Hmm.
And it's like, it's crazy,
They
man.
just change the name. They go
Yeah,
vintage,
yeah,
redone.
yeah. And
They bring it back
it just,
80s styles,
and they
90s
are
style.
some things that I rewatch and I enjoy watching it again, like
Space Jam.
shows, or yeah. So, and then they release a new one, right? And it's fun to see, and it's nice to to see how it works, but you have to take the time just to pause and just analyze everything,
There's
right?
also an ugly side to nostalgia. Like
Yeah,
if you do something wrong, like Star Wars, the last couple, they get destroyed. There's you remember that the one of the actresses that was a new character,
yeah.
and the casino scene. It wasn't like I don't remember which episode it
Ah,
was,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but she got hated just because that scene wasn't good,
yeah,
and she got kicked out of. She left Twitter, she left Instagram because everybody
yeah.
was bullying
The
her,
pressure was too
telling like
much. Yeah,
death threats, everything. You ruined my childhood. You ruined this and that. Nostalgia can get so toxic at some
yeah,
point. Like the moment that you ruined this for me, you ruined
yeah,
that. It becomes. I feel like everybody feels entitled to the thing that they don't own, but just because they used to watch it, just because it was from
yeah,
their childhood, it's sacred and you can't touch it anymore.
yeah.
It's
and
crazy.
and that's why sometimes they don't release sequels, right? Of certain things, because they're like, we're gonna ruin the show, we're gonna just like end the, like, it's just gonna like destroy the whole thing, right? And it's crazy when you see so many series, right, how they end. Also, it gets criticized and everything, and it's like, you will never make everybody happy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't have a show that I've seen and everybody's happy about the ending,
Yeah.
right? So many shows, like I don't know, How I Met Your Mother, like Dexter, like so many shows that you're like, okay, it was good while you were watching, and then comes the end, and everybody gets like pissed because like you messed up like 5 or 6 years of me watching this and like growing up with the character, and we feel like entitled, like you said, like
Mm.
if we own something and we didn't produce the thing, right, we had nothing to do, we didn't write the thing, but we feel entitled to say, like, this is what I deserved, I deserved a better ending, I deserve a better way to enjoy this series, right,
Yeah.
or that movie. And it's crazy how toxic it can be, right, for the person who's trying to do their best, right, and try to get to that level, right? And sometimes
Yeah.
the bar is so high, it's difficult, or the bar is so low that you push the bar really high, and then when you try to do something else afterwards, it's crazy, and you're like,
And that's why some companies are just so afraid to do anything with an old IP
Yeah.
because then they would get destroyed. The stocks will go down. A lot of
Mhm.
things like Disney is sort of mastering how to use nostalgia and how to actually make money off of all they're doing right now. And like, well, nostalgia can do a lot of different things. It can go from music, and like you can get nostalgia out of a smell, out of a
Yeah.
sound, out of an area, right? But it can go both ways. It can go, you can be nostalgic, and that nostalgia will make you remember either a good time or a bad time. And it's crazy how the brain just associates things. Like at first, it'll be, oh yeah, there was a beautiful, there had good times here, and then you start remembering, and then you remember the bad times, the good times,
Yeah.
and yeah, nostalgia can be
It
a
can
lot.
come
It
from
can do
so many
like
senses.
little things. You can be in an area, be like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've been here before, and then it will come in and like, I have been here before. So
Yeah.
when I did this, when I did that, we were here with this person, that person.
Yeah, like you said, it can be a song, just a smell or something like that that makes you feel like, oh, I remember this. Or it's crazy because talking about nostalgia, I was watching a video talking about like how Disney makes you feel that, right? And one of the things they do is that they just release some like refreshers, or I don't know, the air, like they just send a smell for you to consume more things, right? Like let's say you're walking by a chocolate thing factory, right? They put the thing to like the chimney, right, just to get almost in your face so you
Hmm.
can smell whatever's going coming from inside you, you know.
Yeah,
So, or even like cotton candy, right, so they make you smell that like in the whole park for you to feel like when you were younger,
yeah.
you know. It's crazy. And the brain is just like uh,
It just needs
making
like a
those
little thing, and
connections,
it
right?
it does the whole thing.
Yeah, and then you can eat whatever cotton candy at whatever place. And then you're like, oh, it's the same cotton candy. Then I don't know this park. Not to say only Disney, right? But Six Flags or whatever. And you're like, oh, I recall these moments
Hmm.
because you were eating that, right?
I get that
Or
at,
a type of popcorn, or I
yeah,
don't know. Yeah,
uh, I get that at the job when I smell good castor.
yeah.
I remember the first time going to La Ronde and be like, oh, right. First time I went, my parents bought me this. After I did the Goliath, I was so afraid of the Goliath.
It was like part of the experience,
But
right?
yeah, everything.
Yeah,
It's like little things like that get stuck in your mind,
yeah.
and little things can trigger it
Yeah, and it's
and bring
crazy.
it
And
back to
then
you.
afterward, they get to you because you're like, oh, I wish I could just relive this, right?
Yeah.
Then you pass it on to your kids or whatever. And you're like, oh yeah, the first time I came here, like I tried this. You have to try it, right? And it's crazy because even like when we talk about things like that, uh, like doing something during summer. Let's say like when I was younger, our summers was like let's go to the public pool, right?
Yeah.
We go to the pool. After that, it was like ice cream, and we had that and maybe a chicken sandwich. You
Hmm.
know, we went
Yeah.
to Maxi, get the or whatever grocery store. Like we get the barbecue chicken with a big like bread baguette, right?
Yeah.
And then we cut it and we buy some cheese. We put the cheese in it, and that was like my childhood,
Uh
man. We
huh.
were like,
Yeah.
yo, my mom was like, I'm not gonna like cook something fancy. I'm just like buying the
All
chicken,
right.
putting it there. Let's go to the beach or whatever, or the pool. And then we eat that if you're hungry. And at a certain point, we were tired of that.
Yeah.
We were like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't want a chicken sandwich.
But
Like,
do
but when
you?
you're hungry,
Yeah.
dude, after a time in the
Couple of
pool,
hours. Yeah.
you're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna eat whatever, you know. And parents know, man. It's like, hey, you're hungry, like eat that, right? So it's funny, man.
It's funny how now if you do that, or let's say there's a recipe that you used to eat a lot
Yeah.
and a restaurant, right? For me, it's KFC. We used to go to KFC every Sunday. I don't know why. Maybe it was cheaper back then, but every Sunday after church,
I know why.
KFC.
It's for not to cook. Like
It was for that, yeah. But at some point,
you don't cook on
we got
Sundays.
tired. I got tired of KFC,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now I eat KFC, like, yeah, it doesn't taste the same.
Yeah, and you
And
recall it was
and I
delicious.
literally can remember what it tastes like, but I always say it's not the same.
Yeah.
And you can do that with whatever, Coke or like a juice, chips. I feel like chips are different now too.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of different other things that
Recipes
I eat,
change, and
and
you're
I'm
like,
like,
ah, it's
not
not
the
the same
same. It's
thing.
not the
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah,
Yeah. And sometimes they release other flavors, right? Or like,
yeah,
oh, they used to release this flavor when you were younger. And
dude.
it's like, it's crazy.
Mountain Dew, when they used to
Yeah.
release different flavors, now you can't have them. Well, here in Canada,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like when the first time I tried Coke Cherry,
Yeah.
that first sip was amazing. Now I can't get that feeling back.
No.
You drink it again, I'm like, yeah, it's Coke Cherry. But the first time was like mind blowingly
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
And we're not like it seems
Whatever.
like we're like making advertisement for all those things, right?
No,
But
no.
it's not. But we were just talking about like how it makes us recall all those things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure like people right now listening are like, oh yeah, yeah, me too. I had something like that,
If
similar
you're a
like that.
gamer,
Yeah.
just remember the first time you fought a boss, the first time you finished a game.
Yeah, the first time
The
you finish a game, man, that's crazy. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, I completed it. Now what? You know, like,
Mhm.
and then you want to start another one, or
Or when you go back to your old game, like, I remember all of this.
yeah,
It's
dude.
muscle memory. You can't
Oh,
forget it.
Resident Evil 4, I think. And it was in Spain, something like that.
I
Dude,
don't know.
I can just, and I was playing it on GameCube. I played this game like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think you could just redo the whole thing. And at the end, it would tell you how many times you completed the game.
Hmm.
Dude, I think it was like 12 times when I was younger, like something like
Really?
that. Yeah, yeah. And I could, like,
Crazy.
literally, I knew what they were going to say, everything, the whole script. It was crazy, man.
I could do that with Zelda.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, which one was it? Wind Waker. I can play that game and I won't get tired of it. I don't know why. It's just nostalgia. Like, oh, I remember when I used to play this in primary school.
Mhm.
Easier times back then. Then you get sort of sad like, oh man, now things are so complicated. But
Yeah.
then you keep playing.
Exactly. And imagine after that, like you have a brand like Adidas saying like we have a
Yeah,
collaboration,
we
you
got the
know?
retro
We
thing. We
got the
got
retro thing.
this.
Oh, it's gonna be this with Zelda. I was like, wait, what? Who wouldn't want
Oh,
that?
it
Dude,
pays.
it pays off
It
like
pays
crazy. I saw also like Levi's doing collabs
with
with Lego,
Lego,
with
with
things that you're like, wait,
Snoopy.
what?
The Snoopy line,
Yeah. Oh, it was sold
just
out.
Snoopy in anything.
Yeah.
It works,
Snoopy's everywhere.
especially with your generation. It just
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, it's all nostalgia, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like Snoopy is everywhere now, and it was like not so long ago you couldn't find anything Snoopy, and it's crazy.
Some point, mid 2007,
Yeah,
I guess companies just understood like nostalgia sells. Let's just keep going with that
yeah,
because you can get that with anything: cars, guitars, old shoes, clothes,
yeah,
anything. Vintage like thrift shopping
mhm,
is bigger than ever, right?
yeah,
Because we're like, oh, this looks cool. People like are looking at old stuff.
yeah,
We might be deviating a bit. Like old
yeah,
things are getting better now, and like are
yeah,
looking
yeah,
better.
yeah. And they
Like
last a bit longer. Yeah,
fashion like is looking more bad because oh yeah, things were better back then because they last more.
but I feel we always get to that part, right, or a moment in our life when we were like, I'm sure, like if we say teenagers right now, in a couple
I
of years
say
they're
that
gonna
now.
say like, ah, you know what, like it was better when I was a teenager,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
say that now. I'm only 22, but I keep looking at the kid. I'm like, is he having a good time? He's looking at his. I used to go outside and play games and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
And you were
crazy.
like, well, we didn't do that, and we used to do this, and it was way better in our time. And the things that I've heard like from our parents, or like saying that, and then that you have to say it, and now you say that you are saying the same thing. It's crazy,
Yeah.
mind blowing. But the moment they release something that's gonna touch your nostalgia, dude, it's sold out. That's
Dude,
for
just
sure.
just but going back to games, they were selling old NESs, old Nintendo 64s. I'm not sure actually.
Yeah,
I think just
the
NESs.
NES. Yeah,
They were doing PlayStation 1, 2,
yeah,
and now they were selling this little SNES Game Boy looking type of thing that you can just
yeah,
play like two games. Those things sold.
yeah,
Like I used to work at Best Buy, right? Those things used to sold a lot, and at some point they were sold out, and people were just coming every other day, be like, "Oh, do you still have the PlayStation? Do you still have the SNES?
yeah,
Do you have still this and that?" Just because nostalgia sells,
yeah.
and it's crazy the numbers they make, and these companies know,
Hmm.
like they keep selling the same product, just add like five different games,
Yeah.
but it still sells. Like you didn't have Donkey Kong Country 2.
Mhm.
Now it has it. Here you go, buy it, and then you
Yeah,
can
and you
play.
don't need the whole cassette
Yeah,
thing, and you
just
don't have to
just
blow it. It's
Nintendo.
already there. It's
Nintendo, they
crazy.
sell you the same game five times. I have like Mario 64 like five different other times on the collection and the free selling everything. It's crazy how they just mark it up and everybody eats it up because they want to play their favorite game on the new console
Yeah.
or they just want to relive their childhood.
Those moments, yeah, and you're like, oh, I remember this, and it's crazy because, like, if you think games or take games like GTA per se, right? It's crazy because you relive those moments. You take like GTA 2 or 3 and you're like, oh wow, I remember when I used to play this on my PC or whatever and it wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
And now they tweaked it a bit and you have better graphics or even if they don't do that, you still feel like, hey, I've been here. You have the same feeling, right?
Yeah.
And they can sell you the same game over and over, like you said. Like, dude, I had like PS2, right? Um, and I bought GTA 4, I think, right?
San Andreas. I think that was
Is
3.
it 4? Anyways, just to say, like,
Yeah.
they released
4. It was 4.
4 or 5, I don't
The
know.
5.
The
5
5,
came
maybe 5.
2017. No.
But the thing is that I had PS2,
Right.
I bought GTA for PS2, and then I bought the PS3, and I could buy the same game for the PS3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they released PS4, and the same thing, like, and it's crazy, like 3 generations, and they did that with GTA 5 right
They're
now.
doing it now. Yeah.
It's crazy, and it's still running, and it's crazy. I played the game, and I'm pretty sure if I take it back and I just play, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember, I've been here
Okay,
before.
but did you do this first when you start playing GTA 5? Did you what? I feel like San Andreas was a bit fun. More
Yeah,
fun than this
you're
one.
like, it was better. At
And then
times.
you kept playing like, oh, this is cool. And now you go back and you're like, oh, I can't play San Andreas anymore.
Yeah, yeah, because
Crazy.
always like we're tempted to criticize like the new, right?
Yeah.
And
But
be
once you
like,
get
oh,
used to the new,
and
you can't
then
go
you
back.
adopt it and you take it, and then they release stuff again, and you're like, oh yeah, you take it like if it's your own, and
Yeah.
it's crazy, man, how they can make you feel that. And I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it's good, I'm just saying like, dude, it's crazy to see how nostalgia pays off. And I wish like eventually this podcast is gonna remind you some things and be like, oh yeah, I remember when I was listening to Jafet's coffee break and it was really good, you know? Eventually, I hope
They
so.
sold out.
And when they sold out, I don't know, man. Like what happened when it was free, you know?
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know how podcasts will get to work in a couple of years. But imagine, and we're going into another sphere of things, right? But things are popping up right now, and NFTs are selling out like crazy
Yeah.
because they're basing their self also in nostalgia. It's crazy, man. There's this app Vivi. I'm not like putting it out there like to advertise it, but check it out if you want to check. But Vivi, it's a platform where you can like buy NFTs, and they have these massive like list of licenses, and they have Batman, Superman, like DC Comics, Marvel. They have so many, and basically is like you can have a statue or art, and that you can see it on AR, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like it's selling out, like because Back to the Future, DeLorean is there, and you can have it on your phone, and you can just like put it into AR and take a picture with it, and it's crazy, and everybody's willing to pay crazy amounts of money for that, and that's just this app. And we're talking about millions when you talk about like the cyberpunks, CryptoPunks, sorry,
Yeah.
like
CryptoPunk.
CryptoPunks, dude, they were free in 2017, and now they sell for the
Yeah, the highest was
cheapest
at
one
11.
was like $44,000, something like that, and the one
I think
that
the
got
highest
sold,
one was 11,
11
million.
millions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
11
it's
million.
crazy when you see, and we're talking about pixel like
A picture.
characters.
It's a picture.
It's
You
a picture.
You can
of,
draw it. And
yeah, you have paint. You could also almost do it with little squares, and you can make it on your own, right? And it's crazy, but it's not the same because they're minted and they have a limit amount of it, and right.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. And the pixel thing, it just reminds you of Mario. The first Mario, it was all pixeled, right? I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons it sells off like that, because it's like, hey, I remember when the graphics used to look like this, right? So it gives you that little,
They do that. You know, in the Mario collection, Mario 3D collection, whatever it's called.
yeah.
There's a filter you can put that is CRATV. So you play the game like if you had a big ass
Oh, yeah.
CRATV.
That's crazy.
That's like one of the factors that make people like, I can play like how I used to play it. I can even plug in my old controller, blah blah blah, this and that.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like you plug the old controller, you take it, and you have a feeling like, oh wow, I remember this, right?
Yeah.
Like touching the controller, you're
Dude,
like,
yeah.
wow. And it's crazy how it's like almost like bicycle, right? You're just like, don't
You-
lose it.
you
You're
already
just
know.
trying to,
You don't
know
have
the
to
trick.
look
Yeah.
anymore.
The same thing with PlayStation's controllers, right? You take a PS5 controller now and you feel it's natural. You take a PS1 and you're like, oh, I used to play with this, but still you feel it and you're like, oh yeah, I remember. And you, after a few minutes, you start just like having the hang of it,
Yeah,
right? And you're
dude,
just doing
it's
it, and it
crazy.
comes like I said, like bicycle, just
Having the PS5 controller in my hand and using I think like a couple of years ago I used a PS3 controller, and the triggers not having anything,
yeah.
the triggers
It's kind
being
of
all weird.
weird. Yeah.
I'm like, how did I used to play with this thing?
Yeah.
And you still like, you put it back, you play with another one, and then you keep going. You play the PS3 version. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And no, man, it's amazing to see how nostalgia can sells that much, and it's just awesome because I'm guilty. I buy, like
Hmm.
I got involved in this VV app because of that. Because oh, they have Batman, I want to get into that. Like oh, it's crazy. I want to have Supergirl. I want to have Superman. I want to, And at first, I started like, no, you know what? I'm gonna buy it and flip it, just buy and sell and try it. But at a certain point, you're like, oh yeah, I remember like when I saw the first Superman movie, or when I
Hmm.
saw Back to the Future, or when I saw this type of whatever
Yeah,
the release, right?
yeah.
Or series, like they have Adventure Time, they have like so many things, and I'm like, dude, I want this, and I don't know. And after I have it, I'm like, okay, I have it. I can sell it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just the thing,
It's
you want it
crazy.
and then you have it, you're like, okay.
Okay, cool.
And the people
And
who bought those SNES, they just have it like, oh, they played it once.
yeah. And that's what I heard. Like some people bought it. It's like, no, they're still happy. You want to come and Lisbon? Okay, then they don't touch it.
Yeah, the
It's
novelty
just,
went away. Yeah.
but it's just to know that you have it there and just be able to
There's this feeling.
relive
Yeah.
that. You're like, oh yeah,
You see
it's
it,
worth
you're
the
like,
price. You're like,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
okay, yeah, I know it's there. I can play. I can do this. And it's funny because we don't. We've talked about this, but consumers, like that's what we do. We consume and then we just leave it there, right? But nostalgia sells, and we have to be aware of that, right? Because what's cool right now might not be cool in a few months.
Yeah.
Actually, it goes so fast. But at the same time, what's cool now can become cool in a few years, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because I've had like a Space Jam shirt, a retro shirt like that. I used to have like for a while now. I think like
Really?
yeah, like 4 or 5 years. I don't know. Like it's been a while. I have it,
Uh-huh.
and I never thought they were gonna release a new like Space Jam, or that was gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, I feel
dude,
like Space Run was always cool.
yeah, but I didn't think it was coming out and be like, oh, you cool. I heard like, I mean, I go outside and people look at me and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you have that shirt, but they don't comment anything. But now that I have the retro one, I feel like people are like, oh,
Okay.
that
Yeah, yeah.
now you get noticed.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's a cool shirt, man. Like you've had it for a while, or what? Or did you get it in a thrift shop, or that's a retro one? It's like, yeah, yeah, it's a retro one. Like I used to have that one like a while back, right? But what I mean is that it's crazy how like these things can take so much value. It's like
Mm.
comics, like like the first comics to be released with the number one edition or whatever, like they sell
Yeah.
for millions of dollars, and and it's crazy, man, how the demand is there. Like, and I feel that the more it goes, it was gonna be more difficult to get those type of things, right? Because before, I feel they released a certain amount of editions and that was it. If you had it, you had it.
Yeah, no, no.
But now, like, they know it's gonna sell, so they're gonna make a lot of copies, and it's gonna be like like eventually, maybe like in 50, 60 years, when everybody's gonna destroy their copy and or a comic or whatever,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, okay, now it's valued, But and the same thing happened before. Like if you see like Mario Bros cassettes for the NES, right? People were just using it and whatever. But if somebody just put it away and stored it, like they can make a lot of money with that.
Oh yeah.
If it's in mint condition, like it can sell.
Just the
Like, but
cartridge itself, they can sell it.
and I know there are collectors right now like buying stuff, and I'm gonna keep it in the box. But if you're willing to keep it in the box for the next 50, 60 years for it to get value, like good for you. However, it's going to take a long time before it gets that value,
Yeah.
because it's not the same thing as it used to be. But it's crazy, man. And they're going to release other ones because they know it's selling. And that's the problem. Well, the problem with that is that the value is going to continue dropping, right? And it was clear it was going to turn into somehow it had to turn into NFTs that can keep the mint like
Yeah,
perfect,
I feel
right?
like
Like
that's
it
the
was the
future of it.
logical way
Yeah,
to go, right? And it's crazy now that everything is getting digitalized, and I feel it was just natural. It was the next uh, thing to do, right?
yeah,
In order to because when you think about it, let's say like the Funko Pops,
mm,
you're a collector, right? You collect, you get, and you buy, and you have a lot, and then you have 300 boxes or whatever. Like, where do you store them after that? Maybe like, do you know? And I
yeah.
have that problem. I don't have like 300, but I had a lot,
You're close.
and they're maybe I'm close, yeah. But and now they're in a box, like they're just
You know,
there and they're
yeah,
waiting there, and they're not like I'm not exhibiting them, and they're just in a box and they're stored, and probably it's gonna take some value, but I'm not. I opened the boxes because I was like, I'm not gonna sell them, you know,
right.
but because I didn't see it as a collector. I saw it like, no, I enjoy them, and I prefer them outside the box. So that's what I did. Some of them are still in the box that I'm like, this is gonna be worth more, and I know I could sell it eventually, you know. But what I'm saying is that it's crazy how things have to go in a way that, like NFTs per se, I can have like three, four, 500 in my phone, and I don't have to store them anywhere. They're just gonna be there, and it's gonna be valuable because they have minted editions, right? But anyways, I'm just saying that nostalgia is gonna sell, and it's crazy how I can see it now with those digital things, and you can have like a certain amount of those NFTs, and people are just gonna buy it because of the
Yeah,
nostalgia and the brand they know, or they used to know when they were children. It can be with whatever, even food. Like you can have like, I don't know,
which is the
this
weirdest
type
thing.
of
Yeah,
snacks, you know, and then you have just a little flavor, and you're like, whoa, dude,
they
dude,
sell those.
kangaroos. I don't know if you've ate those, the kangaroos ones with the cream, and you have like little bit cookies, and you can dip the cookie in
Wait,
the white
they
cream.
don't make those anymore.
I don't know if they make it, but I remember that was like the coolest snack to have when I was younger,
Maybe
you
when
know.
I was younger, it was Joe Louis.
Oh yeah, the Joe Louis.
Yeah, Joe Louis.
Yeah,
Once you had that, you were the coolest kid in the whole class, and you're like, you traded it for it.
yeah.
At some point, I got one. Like, this is what the fuss is about, and then it went away. And that went away
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah. But it's crazy how you have like taste, and you can have it in the touch, and you see something, you feel like
Yeah,
uh, it brings you back somehow, right?
just sound, just hearing the GameCube logo thing go
Yeah.
on. I was like, "Pff,
Dude, it brings
good
you back,
times.
and
It
you're like,
was
oh,
good
good
times.
times, man.
Yeah.
I spent so much time playing like Mario Striker, or like games
Ah,
like
dude.
that. Dude, it was crazy. And anyways, I wonder why they didn't release another Mario Striker type of game.
Because
But anyway,
they're cowards.
nah,
They're
man,
cowards.
they're
I'm
scared.
telling
They're
you.
scared. Hopefully they will with the Switch or whatever. I was
They did
hoping for
Mario
it to come.
Golf, but they
Yeah,
didn't.
but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, nah, it's not the same. But anyways, that's another topip. We can talk
And we could
about
talk
like
about
video
Nintendo
games.
not doing Double Dash or Mario
Yeah,
Striker
yeah, yeah. We're gonna bash on them in another podcast, but
soon.
I'm just saying, like, it's crazy, man. When you talk about even Mario, it's like, dude, Mario. I grew up with
Yeah,
Mario,
my childhood too.
and you can see that they're still like running on that same thing, you know, like Mario here, Mario that, and you have like different types of Mario games now. And even my kid is like 10 months old, and he
Yeah, you
likes
already
Mario. It's
Mario.
like it's crazy. He has his little like plush Mario, and he loves it. You know, he doesn't even know who's Mario, but he likes it, and I'm sure that he's gonna grow and he's gonna like those type of games. But what I'm saying is that eventually he will remember that. Oh yeah, I used to play these
He
games
looks
that
the photos
are
like, I
going
had
out
a
now.
Mario
Right?
plushie.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But dude, it's amazing to see how we fall for that. I would say consciously, but also unconsciously, because you're like, oh yeah, I need this.
Yeah.
You're like, I need this
Yeah.
thing because like,
You
oh yeah,
feel it,
yeah,
don't you? Like you see
yeah.
let's say a Ninja Turtle wallet. You're like, this is a cool Ninja Turtle wallet,
You're
but
like-
it's so flimsy.
And then you're like, no, I'm a grown
It's
up.
like, yeah, I don't need this. But then you look at it like, you
Yeah.
feel it. I could have bought that actually.
Yeah, because also the thing is that we fall for that. Like, and maybe when you're gonna have a kid, maybe you will understand this. But uh, at a certain point, you're like, or even now that you don't, you're tempted to buy some stuff because you can now, right? It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, I wish my dad could buy me like a Batman figurine. But you know,
I
it
can't
was so
now, Dad. I can
expensive.
buy my own
But
Batman
now I
clothes.
can buy my own Batman. You know, but you know that's the reasoning behind some things, and companies know that they can do that, and people are gonna be there just to buy their stuff.
Yeah.
Even more if it's just like a special edition.
It could
Put
be
whatever in
yeah.
special edition, dude, it's gonna sell
It
like
could be
hot pancakes.
the lamest, crappiest little thing,
Yeah,
like flimsy. It could be
yeah,
not well done, but just because it has that old logo, this, that, is Ninja Turtle, Mario, it's
yeah,
Spider Man, this and that. The moment you see, like, oh, that's an old school thing.
yeah,
I'm gonna buy it.
yeah. And it's like, oh, it's gonna look great in my collection or
Yeah,
whatever. And like,
and then
it's
you throw it
crazy,
and you
man.
don't see it anymore.
And dude, I'm enjoying this type of things because, as I said, like it makes you relive a lot of things,
Good times.
good times, but also bad times. Could be a smell, dude, a smell that can bring you back to something like disgusting, right? And
Hospital, anything that's
oh,
clean.
dude, yeah, everything
Once I
too
remember,
clean.
yeah, when I remember like the hospital smell,
Yeah,
it comes back to like them putting needles in my arm and like nonstop
yeah,
until they could find my vein.
yeah, yeah,
Just seeing and just hearing a needle going click or anything like that
yeah. It
triggers it
brings
in
you
the
back.
back of my mind, and but I have to get over it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Little things like that. Just
yeah.
let's just sometimes when I hear a bug, I used to be deadly afraid of bugs. Now it's whatever, but there's still that little piece of the back of my mind. I go, oh wait, it's a bug. Okay, whatever.
I'm bigger than a bug.
Yeah, yeah, and then I go, boop. But oh my
Yeah,
God, yeah, anything can make you
yeah. Trigger
remember,
something
trigger
good
it.
or bad.
Sometimes you don't even realize you got triggered, and then 2 seconds later, like, oh right, that thing. I should probably look into this, this and that, this is whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's amazing. And even like good coffee. Like, like you taste a crappy cup of coffee and like, oh yeah, I remember. Like you go to a place and you're like, oh yeah, this coffee's bad. But you still drink it because it reminds you or whatever, you
yeah.
know?
McDonald's coffee. That's for me.
No, it used to be bad, but now
I
it's
feel like it's
better.
still bad.
I feel it's
I
better.
had McDonald's coffee at work like a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Gross.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
you didn't like
maybe it
it?
was like maybe it was the McDonald's.
Maybe it was a batch, yeah.
Could be, but it was
But
burnt.
yeah, no, it's but there are things like that you're like, oh yeah, I remember when I used to eat that.
Yeah, KFC is the one for me.
Yeah.
KFC and the one actually the one for me is when we go to New York
Yeah.
and we go through that street, the street to go to the Chinese spot. I always remember that street. Remember there, the moment the smell hits me, like, yeah, I remember. And the taste, the ones that get the taste, I'm like, yeah, I'm in New York. I remember everything again,
Yeah.
all the little things, and it's like kind of disappointing when you don't when you go back to
And
an
it
area,
doesn't taste the
it
same.
doesn't taste, or you go back. Like I used to go to this mall, Green Acres, I think it was called. I go there and I'm like, oh, let me go see the toy shop that's on the corner. Not a toy shop anymore.
Yeah.
It's Payless.
Yeah, and you're like, oh
It's
man,
gone. Damn.
the
Remember?
experience is
Do you remember
over.
when there was the toy shop here? Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that. Remember this? You start pointing at stuff. Like,
yeah,
oh yeah, the old ride used to be here before.
yeah, and it happens to me even like what like you said, like it can be in the city. You go to a place and you're like, oh, there used to be a building here,
Yeah,
and then oh, it's a condominium apartment
I
now,
used
like
to
a
go to
building.
that
It's like, oh
building.
wait, I used to go eat there, and it's not the same. It's crazy. No, man, it can be good, but it can be also bad for the companies because you're expecting something.
Yeah,
And if you don't get what you're expecting, well, you have toxic people, like you said, like before. Like they're gonna say whatever they want to say behind a screen, right?
hmm,
And say like, "Oh, this is crap" or whatever, and it's like, "No, what is this?" And this is garbage, and then they just move towards something else, right?
yeah,
But yeah, man, no, it's crazy how it sells, and I'm passionate about it because I'm so involved right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
buys and stuff. I'm like,
Right.
oh my god, this is making money, and I'm like investing in it. But it's crazy, man. It's really nice to see how. It's nice to see, but at the same time, it's like kind of we have to fall into this like understanding
You have
that
to be conscious that
you cannot buy
yeah,
everything.
the
It's not
company
necessary,
knows.
but the company knows that they will make you feel like, oh, I need this in my
Dude,
life, right?
10 out
Or like
like
it's crazy.
5 times out of 10, they
Yeah.
get me. They're like, oh, I'm I'm debating on buying a sweater. It's $100, but it just says Metal Gear Solid, and that's it. And I'm like, that's a cool logo. I used to play that game. It's $100, but I'm
Yeah.
this close to getting it. But I have to stop myself. Like, no, you don't need it. It
You
just
don't
says
need it. You don't need it.
Metal Gear on it. You don't need
Yeah.
it.
No, it's crazy, man. But it sells.
Oh,
It sells, and we fall for it, and that's what's happening.
yeah.
So be aware. Be aware, guys.
Nostalgia is a good thing
But it can also
in
be
moderation.
exactly. you don't need everything,
You don't
guys. You
need
don't
all
need
the limited
everything.
editions,
Yeah,
old school stuff.
yeah. No, it's crazy. But we can enjoy something, and if you do, and you want to buy all the pops, or you want to
Do
buy
it.
all the things, do it.
Do it.
If it makes you happy, like, good for you. But I'm just saying that coming to a realization that, whoa, man, no, it's crazy
Yeah.
when you think about it. Like, so much money spent in things that we don't even use. They
Mm.
just in a box sitting
Yeah.
somewhere. It's crazy, man. Because we had that little moment of like, oh yeah, I remember this.
You go back to your
Yeah.
childhood.
And what's good right now for me, well, in my case,
Yeah,
is
you have a
that
kid. The kid can
I
use
have a
it.
kid.
Yeah.
He's gonna use all that. And I was telling my wife, like, hey, we're not gonna buy any more toys. He has so many that I have,
Yeah.
you know, and some of them are collectibles. And she's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, it's fine. He's gonna use it. So I'm sure, like, I'm gonna lose a couple of Funko Pops there.
It's
They're gonna lose the
okay. It's for
head
the
or whatever,
kid.
but it's for the kid.
No,
You know, like,
they're made solid.
yeah,
They're fine.
I was talking about
Quit
Funko Pops, but I have
bashing.
so many more. You know, like, I fell for the Hot Wheels Star Wars collections, dude. Oh man, I was like, oh, I don't have this one. I don't
Yeah,
have
you
this
were
one.
telling me, like,
At
dude,
first,
I found it.
I was like, oh, this is cool, because I was thinking, like,
Yeah.
collectibles. You know, it's a collectible, and they didn't make that many. I was like, okay, that's so cool, and it was hard to find,
Mhm.
right? So,
I
but
remember.
I
I remember
didn't.
the hype for that.
I never knew, like, how many they released, right? But I was after them. I was like, oh, I have this one, I have this one, I have this one, and it's easy to fall for these, because we're talking about, like, what, $4 more or
Yeah.
less. So it's like, oh, it's not that
Dude,
bad.
you used to
Two,
go
three
to
dollars
every
if you can get.
Walmart to go check.
Dude, it was crazy. I was like, oh, we're at Walmart buying other
Sometimes,
stuff. I was like, let me check. I'm gonna go check the Hot Wheels. It's like, wait, what? So you see a grown ass guy, like, with the beard, and with other kids checking the Hot
they
Wheel
don't
cars.
have it.
They don't have it. Well, let's go back home. We're good. Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes I'm passing. Still now, I'm like passing, and
Do
I'm
they
like,
have it?
I just I just turn my head, like, oh, Hot Wheels were there. I was like, no, it's like, and I have to stop myself. But it's
I'm a
crazy
grown
because,
ass man. I don't
yeah,
play with
like,
Hot
yo,
Wheels.
I have enough, and he has enough to play with. It's crazy, and I'm pretty sure these are gonna be worth, like, a lot of money eventually
Eventually.
in mint conditions. But I'm not gonna be sitting on them, like, for 50 years or 30 years. For them to get value, my kid's gonna use them.
Yeah.
But it's crazy when you think about it, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna release other editions. But
Eventually.
that's part of the game. And you have to be aware to see, like, why do you buy things, and why would you fall for the nostalgia?
Mhm.
And if you're falling for it, well, at least admit it. Like, saying,
Oh,
yeah,
I,
own it.
I
huh?
fully admit it.
Yeah, it's fine.
I
I'm not
was
saying
sort
it's a
of.
bad or a
I'm
good
sorry,
thing.
audience. I was sort of lying. I will buy the hoodie.
Admit you already ordered
I
it.
already ordered. I already ordered it.
Let me show you your history. Let me
I
show you your
already
history.
did it. It's
Yeah.
coming on Monday. Yeah.
I knew it. It's crazy.
I'll show you after. It's really cool.
No, but it's
It's
crazy. But
dangerous,
it's fun.
guys.
Look,
Be aware. It's out there. It's a problem.
we're falling for it. We have a problem. Help us, guys. We're trying to get out of this. For me, it's Hot Wheels. For him, it's Metal Gears. No, but but it's crazy, guys. Honestly, and I wish we could have, like, more time to talk about all
Yeah.
the things that we can recall, nostalgia, and everything. Like,
Leave a
and we
comment.
didn't even talk about music, man. And music, it's
Dude.
crazy. You just put a song, and radios know how to make it like, oh,
They literally go, remember this batch? They go,
and then bang in the 90s, and you have, like, music. It's crazy. Yeah, just a little melody, and you're like, oh yeah, and then you leave it there, you
Yeah.
know. And then they sell you a product, and, like, and
You
the
barely hear
advertisement, right?
the radio is so low. You
Yeah.
barely hear 2-3 notes. You go, is that Justin Timberlake?
Yeah,
And
it's
you
like,
put it
oh,
back
yeah,
on.
yeah, I remember that. No, like, oh, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, you
Yeah.
know, like, and they're good. Even the bands and everything, they know that they can sell
Yeah.
the nostalgia, right? You have, like, old school people, old school singers, just bringing
And
back
Six trying
the
to come back.
same music, you know.
Nobody
And-
said they should come
and
back. They just
it's
came back.
crazy. Yeah, they just came back. Nobody asked, man, but they know they're gonna sell, you know.
And they're back.
Who wanted the Backstreet Boys again? Like, no, nobody asked. They were like, "Hey guys, we're coming back." I was like, "What?"
Backstreet Boys are back.
The Backstreet Boys are back
Remember
again.
remember there was a thing? They're back.
They're
Who's
back.
The
Who's back?
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's crazy.
Nobody asked. They're back.
They're back, and they're gonna be back in 2 years.
Yeah, they're gonna
I
be
don't
back
know.
Who knows?
Who knows, man?
Oh
Like,
man.
you heard it here first. It's a joke. I don't have anything to do with Domestic Boys.
Like, what?
I don't have any insight, guys.
What are we doing
go-
here? You know the Backstreet Boys?
so so it's crazy, but that's what happens, right? And it's crazy. And then they release new songs, and you have people sing the oldies.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
crazy. The
We got new stuff. I don't care.
I don't care about new stuff,
Maybe the
man.
old
Like,
stuff.
yeah, bring
Where's
back
this
the old. Bring back Justin. Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. Like honestly, uh, I'm pretty sure. Okay, and this is something I'm putting it out there, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's. I know there are like music awards shows or whatever,
Yeah.
but it would be
Grammys.
interesting, like yeah, Grammys or whatever. But it
BET.
would be nice to have like bring it back. I don't know, the '90s, and just give them like a little. I don't know, man. Like having awards for
More awards of what I already had.
no, I know there are a lot, but I mean like something just to remember those. I'm pretty sure it would sell.
They do it.
That's what I
They,
mean.
they do it in the Grammys and the MTV movies. Or like, looking back and the
Yeah.
best moments of MTV, it's always the 90s. One.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's always the like.
Yeah,
but it's
so-
true. But the thing is, I'm sure they released a show just dedicated to
yeah,
old things.
yeah.
Like it's gonna sell, and you will have like a lot of people happy, and other that will be like this is useless. But it's in the past, But they will always sell like for. I'm pretty sure, and I'm
know-
sure like like. Well, you were gonna say something.
Nowadays, people do what they do a lot is sampling. They sample parts of old school music because they know it will do well. Now, rappers nowadays are sampling old school rap beats, old
Yeah.
school 808s, old school like drum beats, putting into their own beat,
Yeah.
and it goes crazy because they remixed it, and the people
Yeah.
like and the old generation goes like, you know what, this is actually
Just
pretty
saying
good.
that I
Yeah.
remember like the Santana solo, the Santana.
Oh yeah, the
like, with
DJ Khaled. Thing?
Yeah,
But the problem is
this guy
nobody
understood.
knows about Santana until they're like, wait, what is
Yeah.
the song? It's a Santana song.
Yeah, I've heard about
Yeah.
this before, but they don't know. They have to look at. Oh yeah, that's the
Oh, who's
original.
this Santana? Yeah, people don't know much about
Yeah,
Santana.
Now anymore. Like,
Yeah,
but
back then, yeah,
yeah,
Woodstock, all that.
dude,
People were like,
when I heard it, I was like, wait, what?
yeah, me too. I was like,
was
isn't that a Santana riff?
Yeah,
The guy next to me was like, what?
Yeah, it
Like,
was
you don't,
crazy.
okay, you don't know.
But they
Santana?
sell you that type of
Oh, yeah.
like nostalgia, and it's
Everywhere.
crazy
It's
everywhere. And I get pissed at them at sometimes. I was like, dude, like some singers, I'm not gonna call them out.
DJ Khaled.
No, but there are some that I'm like, dude, like create something original. You don't retake whatever,
Yeah.
And I'm like, and Latinos are good for that. I don't know why, man. Like
Oh,
so
they-
many Latinos,
they
they
love
just
it.
retake like old school things,
They
and
love
like,
it.
yeah. And I was like, oh my god.
But
And
you
they
know
did
what?
it like even like with other songs that they were released like hits, and
Yeah.
then they have a rhyme or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, like this guy said in his song, blah blah blah, and does. Why? Like no, I don't know, man. But
sells-
it's almost like it
You bring
sells,
back,
you know?
you bring back the artist that
Yeah.
originally played it. Like, he brought him on.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
It's like a shout out in the song, and people go crazy for it. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, no man, it's nice, and you can see it in so many like different like aspects. How
Yeah.
they sell things. It's amazing, and it's nice. It's nice because you relive those good things. Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like, well, it can also go back, like just to end up with this. It's like when I had friends like going through breakups, right? With boyfriends,
put
girlfriends, or
Crimea
whatever,
River?
Crimea River, or other songs like that you're like, oh man, and then they hear it and they just can't like stand the song anymore because they come
Yeah.
back to these moments, right?
the Neo syndrome.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, it's sad, and maybe somebody it's living it differently, and like, oh yeah, I remember this song and I like it, but for that person, she's just reliving every
Yeah.
little feeling, and they're feeling overwhelmed, and
Any Aventura song, like, oh
Yeah.
my god, she left me. Why did she left me?
why did she, and they start crying again,
Yeah.
it's
They
like,
sing it- they
it's
sing it
just
so
crazy,
proudly.
like, yeah, it's
New
like,
girlfriend
oh,
on the side. I'm sorry, this is a moment for me.
yeah, it's like, oh, I have to go out, no, but it's crazy. Nostalgia can be good, can be bad. hopefully we made you relive some things today with this topic, and that you guys enjoyed. I hope so. Let us know in our comments
What
on
makes you
Instagram,
nostalgic?
what makes you nostalgic. What do you want to tell us about it? Did you live something good? Hopefully yes. If you want to talk about something bad, reach us, it's fine. We can talk.
Which
But
song makes you cry?
hopefully something good. What did you guys like? What should have we mentioned on this podcast? We're always there to listen to you guys. Thank you for being there. It's been awesome. And as I said, this is our first episode recorded. So thank you for being there. I hope you guys enjoyed it and enjoyed our faces. I know I have a big beard and I look like my like my logo, right? That's the goal. And eventually, maybe we
Our
will
logo
add.
guy is on point.
Yeah, so we'll see if eventually we can add up some Victor into the logo.
Yeah, I
Like
keep
let's see.
saying no, but
So yeah, he says like, no, this is my face. This is gold.
yeah.
Like
And
you're not gonna,
I was like,
is it,
okay.
unless it's nostalgic in 10 years
He
we
puts
will
my face
bring it
behind
back.
his face, and you can say, "It's there.
It's
You
there, man. You're
just wait.
hiding
It's
like
there."
before the coffee break. Yeah. So thank you so much for being with us, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And thank you, Victor, for sharing those moments. It's always fun.
No problem.
And yeah, so see you on the next episode that probably will be in French.
Hasta la próxima.
Hasta la próxima, guys.